Hello, I'm Georgie Jeffrey and welcome to my fourth video in this series of presentations for TL2072 Talent Pathways. Today we will be learning about early specialisation. So, what actually is early specialisation? Sport specialisation is intense training in one sport whilst excluding the others occurring at a young age. It has become increasingly popular for young athletes to specialise in one sport early on. For example, if a child who is participating in football, tennis and gymnastics decides to drop the other sports and focus solely on gymnastics, this would be a case of early specialisation. Can you think of any sports stars who have specialised early in sport? Tiger Woods showed interest in golf at 6 months old and began playing the sport when he was 2, and then he was then featured in the magazine Golf Digest aged 5. He's gone on to be one of the most successful golf players to ever swing a club. Andy Murray is another example of an athlete who specialised early. At age 3 he began learning how to play tennis with his mum Judy Murray teaching both him and his brother. Andy went on to win Wimbledon 2 times and is still loved by many tennis fans. However, Andy Murray has been notorious for his career-threatening injuries in his hip, which has led him to undergo hip resurfacing surgery. Could Murray's flurry of injuries be down to early specialisation? Why might some athletes choose to specialise in one sport early in life then? Erickson et al. 1993 believed that the sooner one began to deliberate practice, the sooner one would reach a high level of performance. So, if early specialisation can increase the chances of success in sport, could this explain why so many opt to do it? This belief could also influence early specialisation, as it could help athletes get ahead of their competitors by achieving success before their peers. Parental influence or decision could also be a reason for early specialisation, particularly when looking at athletes who have specialised at an extremely young age where they are unable to choose themselves, as parents are responsible for the introduction of their children to physical or sporting education. A study by Padaki et al. 2017 found that parents of children who specialised in one sport were more likely to report directly influencing their children's specialisation. However, if parents do bear a lot of responsibility for early specialisation, this could lead to many issues for the athlete in the future if they didn't opt to specialise, but instead are following their parents' expectations. We will take a look at this in a minute. Furthermore, early specialisation has been found to be much more common in individual sports such as tennis or boxing as opposed to a team game. So now that we know what early specialisation is and why so many opt to specialise early, what are the issues? The first issue of early specialisation is the physical impact it can have upon athletes. According to Gladwell et al. 2017, intensive exercise during adolescence may affect growth rate and final stature. Furthermore, Erlandson et al. 2008 found that the pubertal and skeletal development occurred later in female gymnasts who undertook intense training as opposed to recreational gymnasts of the same age. So in terms of athletes who specialise in a sport early with lots of intensity, there is a worry that they won't develop at the correct rate compared to their peers of a similar age. The next physical impact of early specialisation is a risk of injury. A study conducted found that there was a much higher prevalence of an overuse injury within a group of athletes that specialised in a single team sport. This is most likely due to the repetition of the same movements in the sport over a long period of time. For example, tennis players who have specialised early could be more prone to shoulder injuries than those who haven't. Now let's take a look at some psychological issues. A possible negative psychological effect of early sports specialisation is burnout. This is where an athlete becomes fatigued and stressed with an activity they previously enjoyed. This could link with how if parents are the ones to encourage their child to specialise in one sport, it could cause burnout, as the child may become bored of the sport and not want to participate anymore, especially if they weren't the ones to choose it. Specialising in a sport often requires long and frequent training hours, which can therefore lead to social isolation, poor academic performance, increased anxiety, greater stress, inadequate sleep, and decreased family time. All these potential side effects of early specialisation would most likely have a detrimental impact upon a young person's mental health and could therefore lead to dropout from their sport. So is early specialisation worth it? There are lots of benefits to early specialisation, as many believe that early specialisation does have an impact upon how successful an athlete is. Gladwell 2008 believed it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill, so this would back the concept of early specialisation. But looking at all the potential side effects, should we allow children to enjoy trying sports and having fun instead of forcing them to become the next big thing and putting all that weight on their shoulders? What do you think? In conclusion, today we have covered what early specialisation is, a number of potential benefits and negatives of early specialisation, and some prolific examples of athletes who have been involved in the specialisation. In my next presentation, we will be taking a look at some biological phenomenons, the Kenyan runners. Thank you for watching. And here is my reference list. Thank you again for watching.